Hi, welcome to Bex Checks. My name's Bex, and this is the show where I call random strangers and just sort of check on them and see how they're doing. But today, I'm expecting a call. This guy Wyatt commented on my Instagram yesterday, the Good Burger We're All Dudes Hey gif, and that is the funniest way anyone has ever misgendered me. So I told him that, and he said that he didn't misgender me, I did. And I thought that was an interesting take. So I told him to call in, and I'm hoping that today, this morning, that he does. I'm gonna give Wyatt some time here. My phone's ready, buddy. Give me a call. Come tell me why I'm wrong about my gender. I'm gonna put this right over my boobs just for you. So long, so long, so long to my favorite song. So long to my favorite song. Come on, Wyatt. Call me. Hey! Bex Checks, this is Bex speaking.
Hey, this is Andie Pants.
Hey, Andie! Andie Pants!
What's up?
What's up? Oh, man.
Not a whole lot.
Where are you? Where are you based?
I'm in Dayton, Ohio.
You're in Dayton, Ohio? That's a place I have never been. What's it like there?
Birthplaces. You know what? Dayton is an old soul. We had our heyday like at the early 20th century. So we're a really chill town. So, but we got soul. You know, we're not a place that like.
Huh.
Yeah. When Dayton had their big heyday, like way back in the anyway. So now we're just kind of like this comfortable rundown little town.
Oh.
Not little, but.
Right. It's that's kind of like where I grew up in Franklin, Tennessee. It's very old, but it had like it was like a Civil War era town, and then and then in the 60s it kind of became like a hippie place, and then all those hippies grew up to be just like rich people who like wine, and then and now it's changed a lot even just in my lifetime. So
nearby. We got a nearby town called Yellow Springs, and it's the same way. It just they hit the 60s and decided they liked it and stayed there.
Yeah.
But there's a whole lot of like rich white lady boutiques and stuff there too.
Oh yeah.
A couple of fancy schmancy restaurants.
Yeah.
But great place. I love it there.
What so Andie Pants, what's on your mind today? How are you? I forgot to say that's the whole point of the show. How are you?
I'm actually I'm on the upswing. I've been freaking the hell out. Yes, I'm a trans woman too.
Okay,
freaking the hell out since inauguration day. Not trying to get into politics, but I've been kind of coming up and out of it lately. So
I would agree with that. I think I think a lot of us have had a similar sort of a drop and then a sort of what I have found. What I have seen is so in January when everything happened. I realized they were trying to silence us. It was clear from the start that was what the goal was to like basically start trying to push to where we're just like second class citizens. We're not allowed in bathrooms. We're not allowed to speak for ourselves. Things like that. They're just trying to belittle us, right? Yeah. And so immediately I was like, I gotta be the loudest fucking person on Instagram. That was my goal. I was like, I need to be so damn visible that these fuckers cannot escape me. And so I started posting a lot more. I started tagging tags that I knew conservatives would find. And I've done that, yeah. Yeah, I was very much, and then because of that, I realized, and I hope that you have too, I am way less alone than I thought I was. There are so many of us around and so many of us online as well, a surprising number of us. And I think a lot more of us have decided to be more active the same way I did. And I also found a much more of a community online of trans women specifically that like I would have never looked. I don't think I would have found them if I hadn't become more active on the platform. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. I am because I came out. I just at the end of September, so about a month ago, hit my 4-year anniversary.
Oh,
and
anniversary.
I spent the first 2 years. Yeah, some people don't like that word because it sounds like tranny. Which I don't know.
It's
a word I like to use
That's
for
our
myself,
slur.
but
We're allowed to use it.
But I know it kind of offends other people, so I try to use it judiciously. But
Right.
yeah, anyway, yeah, so I spent, my first 2 years of my transition on TikTok building a really nice community of people. And then like I was just doing a live and somehow trolls mass reported me for like like trafficking illegal goods. I was sitting there doing makeup. But anyway, and then I had my account deleted.
That,
So then
yeah,
I moved over to Instagram. Yeah, so the first 2 years of my transition erased, which bit.
that
But
sucks.
oh well. It's my fault for expecting any amount of permanence on social media. Anytime I log in, I expect, you got to expect that it could just all be gone.
I
That's
have not thought about that. That's
yeah.
terrifying. Yeah. Huh.
All it takes is one roving gang of haters, because most nowadays it's all just AI troll bots,
Yeah.
But at least a couple of years ago on TikTok, you'd see them. One would land in your chat, and then all of a sudden you'd see them tag a million people. You're like, oh god, here they come, And sure enough, a million trolls would show up, start spouting, like their usual generic phrases. I'm like, it's just the only thing that bothered me about them is that they clog up the chat, and I couldn't see the legit people trying to talk.
Yeah.
Just like
And
block,
it's,
block, 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 block.
yeah. Well, and I thought, do you know, are you familiar with Jovan Bradley?
I'm not.
You should look him up. He's phenomenal. When I wasn't necessarily new in my transition, but it was definitely like in the earlier part of this year when I'm about 3 years in. Actually, I think
Okay.
I'm about three and a half maybe. I think you're a little ahead of me, but
Sweet.
but in January I was definitely like coming into my own for sure in a very real sense, and part of that was undoing a lot of the internalized transphobia that we all have to deal with, and
I'm still fighting it.
yeah, it's really hard. Well, this guy, Jovan, he's a cis man, a beautiful man who debates people. He debated people on TikTok. He was doing mostly capitalist debates, and then he started defending trans people, and then they banned him. Same thing with you. They banned him on TikTok, so he moved to Twitch. Now he's on YouTube, and he's working for The Line with Jimmy Snow and all those people. And they debate
Oh, okay.
conservatives all the time. And Jovan is incredible. He undid so much of my internalized transphobia because these people would bring the arguments that are in my head and he would just undo them completely. Like,
Nice.
it's so good. But yeah, the same thing. Like, even somebody advocating for us gets banned.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's words. I don't have words.
Words. We don't know.
Words are hard. I think in surges of emotion, and my words just kind of go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know?
And this morning, I don't know if the USDA just blamed us for the government shutdown officially on their website.
Yep.
And
It's all my fault. Sorry, America.
Yeah. And I posted this
I'll do better
morning,
next
like,
time.
I genuinely wish that we had the power that people think we did, because we would do something with it. We would probably fix a lot of these problems if we had the amount of reach, the amount of social effect that people think that we do. And this is I was so excited today because I don't know if you saw the beginning of this, but there's this guy Wyatt who was in my DMs yesterday. Not my DMs, he was in my comments. He posted the GIF from Good Burger, the "We're All Dudes Hey" GIF, and it was the funniest way anyone has ever misgendered me. I thought it was hilarious, and I told him that, and he said, I didn't misgender you, you did. And I told him, call in. And it's so frustrating because, like, you're so fucking opinionated, but you won't call in. He still hasn't showed up. Like,
Oh yeah, no, he won't.
he won't. That's so frustrating. I was really excited because I'm not afraid of these people because because I think especially this Snap thing has really reminded me. And I've spent a lot of this year undoing a lot of hatred that I have towards men in general. But
Same.
yeah, and so the new, like, this new SNAP benefits problem has really kind of I don't know. I've seen it from a different light that, like, we really all are in the same boat. Like, even though I think Wyatt's a dumbass and he should call in and I want to yell at him and put him in his place, I also still think that he doesn't deserve to die. And I also don't think that he should lose any of his rights either. Like, and that's the thing that's frustrating is, like, they won't even meet us for a conversation anymore. They won't. Most of them won't even have the conversation now.
Yeah, like if Orange, you know who, was near me and stubbed his toe, I would still run and get a band-aid because it's the right thing to do, even though I hate his guts. You know, it's just that's just human decency.
It would it would be really funny.
I'd tell him to suck.
He's
I'd
so weird physically. I feel like he would find a way to make.
I'd
I was talking to my partner about this the other day. If Trump, if
yeah,
Trump was just not the worst person ever, like if he just imagine if he was like cool. You know what I mean? Like
right,
imagine if he was like a really cool guy. He would be so goddamn funny. He'd be this
right.
like weird nostalgic 80s man that you're like, "Oh, that's that old 80s guy. He was in Home Alone. He's that guy from that show." And
Yeah.
we'd all laugh at him. And then he'd still be popular. He'd just be a harmless idiot.
Well,
But
I mean, he's got the charisma. He knows
yeah.
how to aim it at the right people. You
Yeah.
know,
It makes me so mad cuz he does things,
he just
especially
uses his power. He uses it for evil.
he
You know.
does. And it's selfish. He's a selfish horrible man who also clearly
Hmm.
really likes to bone kids, and I that's a real issue. But
Yeah.
but also like he is just we've been watching. We went back and watched through the all of John Oliver just because it's all on YouTube, so we just decided to go through it. And watching through, you see he perfectly chronicalizes the rise of Trump, and as he goes, Trump is way funnier in the earlier years. He's like he's more lucid, obviously, but like I even was laughing now at what he was saying back then because it's genuinely funny, and then it just gets more evil and more exposed and more whatever, and now he's just so far gone that it's not funny anymore, and it's a shame. It really is a shame because I appreciate humor, and I think on some level he appreciates humor, and he just had to ruin it by being the fucking worst, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. He wanted to be because he only ever said the highest compliments to all the dictators of the world, Duterte, to Kim, to Putin. He only ever just expressed nothing but admiration. You know, he damn well he wants so hard, he wants so bad to have that level of power, and that just consumed him.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's just a real shame.
Oh.
So what do you is there any like positivity or like hope that you have? Do you have any like is there anything that's like uplifting you right now?
Well, I am. I'm married, and I also have a girlfriend, and
Oh.
she, and I'm not in the world's greatest physical health ever since. I'm still struggling to get out of lockdown mentality. And I put on a lot of weight, and I'm old. I'm 47, and I screwed up my back when I was like 22. So,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I just got that chronic pain. So I'm not in the best physical shape. And my girlfriend took me out on Friday, and just we walked around, and I did so much more than I thought I was capable of, and it gave me so much hope. I'm like, okay, I'm not just trapped in a broken body. I can move around in this broken body and actually live a little. And
Oh,
that's just
yeah.
been such a mood booster, because I
Yeah.
get stuck in a rut, and I needed the help of my girlfriend to unstick me, and it was great. So
I
I've been kind of floating. I've been floating on that.
that's you know what? The littlest things, right? That and that's I think
Hmm.
you learn that especially as a trans person to like really you have to focus on the positivity because we do kind of face like not all of us has faced constant negativity, but a lot of us are just we're kind of a lot of us have thick skin over time. Many of us.
Yeah.
I know many of my trans friends, they
Oh,
aren't
you have to.
yeah, they're completely unaffected by bigotry emotionally because they've been used to it their whole life. And I uh forgot what I was saying. Oh, I work at a theme park, and I like when I have one good interaction with a guest can really help me with like
Hmm.
how miserable and depressed I am because it's just like, oh wow, like some people are cool, right? That's
Yeah.
great.
Faith in. I volunteer each weekend at a food pantry, and let me tell you, that is so restorative for my faith in
I
humanity.
bet.
You know. And well, for a second, there was something I reposted on my Instagram a few weeks back, and it said we need to focus on glimmers. And what a glimmer is it's the opposite of a trigger. It's just those little moments throughout a day that give you just a little blip of happiness, just a little smile, just that little, oh, that's really nice, throughout your day. And it's just it's just those little micro moments of peace or happiness or joy. And and I've been trying to focus more on the glimmers,
Yeah.
and I love that. So you were kind of talking about focusing on the little things that make you happy. I'm like, yeah, and especially once you give something a name, then then it becomes a thing. It legitimizes it. And so yeah, I've been trying to focus on not letting that just be a feel good post and I forget about it, but focus on you keep it alive and say this is the glimmers I had today.
Yeah, yeah. My uh, I struggled with severe depression right in the middle of the summer, and I got a
Mm-hmm.
therapist, and my therapist was just constantly hammering me to focus on the positivity, and I was like, "You bitch, there is none." I was like so mad,
Yeah,
and
it
then
feels like toxic positivity when they're
it
like, just smile.
it really does, it does, and I couldn't understand how like she couldn't give me any more than that. Like really,
Yeah,
like you really can't,
I
and
hate toxic positivity.
but it did over time. She was right. It is it's not that you I think it comes from mindfulness. I think it's like you're not saying
Mm-hmm.
that negativity isn't there, you're just acknowledging the negativity and then not focusing on it and allowing yourself to try and focus on the things that just aren't going to raise your blood pressure.
Yeah.
And like I've gotten extremely good at it, but I struggle a lot now. I've over this year, especially being more active online, I have a thicker skin with outward problems. Now I struggle with my own thoughts. My own thoughts just torment me sometimes, and I have a hard time.
Oh yeah.
I get like, and I especially with like, and we can, we should probably. It's weird that we get periods, right? Like it's weird. It
Yes.
is weird that we get that, right? It's weird that our body thinks we have a uterus. I think that's really weird, and I think that people don't believe that we get them, but it's true. And I get so fucking depressed right before it, and it I get like there's like a wave of emotion that hits, and I can't escape it. It like I have to ride it out, and it sucks.
Oh, it can. You just got to surf the wave. It consumes you.
Yeah. Oh man, and like I work in my job. There's a one of our positions is just alone in a room for like 15 minutes at a time in between shows, and I am just pacing around
Uh-huh.
that room trying to not spiral, and I can't. It's crazy. Ugh.
Yeah, yeah, that's about the time where I'd be flapping my hands like crazy, a little hopping up and down, just going, "Come on!" Just like I'm trying to flick off the energy, like water on my hands, just flick off that negativity, like ah.
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
my that's my flappy stim right there. It is like it's like almost flicking off the droplets of negativity off my fingers.
Yeah. I just curse a lot. That's I think that's I think that's my response.
Oh, same here.
Yeah.
My jo- I used to be that kid who was like, "Oh no, we can't cuss. Cussing means that you're unintelligent." Because I was that little asshole
Yeah.
back in when I was a teenager. And my joke is that it took me going into the Air Force to teach me how to cuss like a sailor.
There you go. I can see that. I work with a guy who was in the Navy, and he curses like crazy. It's the stereotype is very true. I don't blame you though. You were on a goddamn boat. If you lived on a boat, you can curse. That is a human law. That is in nature. That is written in stone
Like,
by Mother Gaia. That if you work in the ocean, you can curse. And I'm gonna
that
add,
cannot
if
be
you work
easy
in
living.
space too. If you are an astronaut, I don't give a shit what you say with your mouth because that's awesome. Also, I've learned because like I said, I've been watching a lot of debates over this year. I have learned that you
Yeah.
can. It is extremely possible to succinctly address an argument and tell someone why they're wrong while also calling them a dumbass. Me calling you a
Yeah.
dumbass does not take away from my ability to tell you why you're stupid and wrong.
That's one thing I would say. It's like, yeah, I don't care if you call me names, just back it up with good reasons.
Yeah, this is. I had a early video of mine
That's
that
like,
I'm still very proud of, and it was a point that I was going to try to make with this Wyatt bitch.
mm-hmm.
Was that there is a difference between gender identity and gender expression, and gender
Oh
identity
yeah.
is something that it comes from within me, and it cannot be decided by anyone else, and you can't really realistically say shit about my identity, right? But you can say
Mm-hmm.
all you want about my expression. If you don't like the way I'm expressing it, go ham, bro. I don't give a shit. But it's absurd. It is logically absurd to assert anything about someone else's gender identity when we can prove that it is sort of this nebulous mind thing.
Absolutely. And I mean, there are cultures on Earth where the masculine is to basically they almost have a bit of a lion kind of thing where the men are the flashy ones, the masculine
Yeah.
is wears all the colors and everything and dances around, and then the feminine. the culture. They're just out there covered in dirt doing all the work.
Yeah.
Like gender roles can be flipped. It's not a chiseled in stone. It's basic biology.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's basic biology, but like, hey, let's talk about how like high heels were made for men. Let's talk about how wigs were made for
Yeah.
men. Let's talk about how makeup, I think, was originally for men. I can't remember. Like the entire even in our like our ancestry history. I don't know if you're white, but like
White, yeah.
America's European history. Even their gender roles were completely flipped. There, like the idea. I learned this recently. I was watching. It was a very good visualization of it. I don't remember what YouTube it was. It was some YouTube channel, but they were talking about how like
Yeah.
they showed how like our idea in the early 1900s of a dandy would have been the idea of a royal like only 100 years before that. Like that, like that.
Yeah.
That's the whole. I think Always Sunny made a really good joke about that in there when they did the Liberty Bell episode. How they're like walking around trying to be like rich kids, and then they call them poofs. Like that. Like that's. I think I think that it's pretty absurd, and it also. I mean, God, it just all goes back to education. It comes back to just people are not educated, and they think that they are, and they think that and what's infuriating to me, Andie, is that I used to be that way. I used to tell people at parties that stupid thing about how there's like a gland in your butt that if you hit it, you die. So like gay people are just risking it that they're going to die. I used to say that because I was wildly homophobic because I was probably extremely closeted and didn't know it. And like,
Yeah.
so I'm not saying that everybody who's transphobic is trans. I think that's kind of an absurd thing to say. I do think that most women are bisexual. And I think that most men, more men than you think, are bisexual, but I think I couldn't tell you what the number is. But I think as far as gender identity, I do think that being trans is a lower part of the percentage of the population. I think that if everybody was accepted and everybody could do whatever they want, I still think it probably would only be about 20 to 30% of people. That is entirely just my opinion. I have nothing to base that on, but it just it doesn't feel as prevalent and obvious as it would have to be for it to be like half the population to be trans. But like what I am saying is that I can see clearly how I got out of that bigotry, how I worked my way out somewhat unwillingly. It just sort of happened. I was exposed to new ideas. I was exposed to knowledge. I had beautiful, amazing friends who I could not find an issue with. And so I had to examine like, okay, well, if this person who's telling me that they don't use pronouns, they use they, them pronouns, and I've never heard of that. If this person is telling me this, but they're also a beautiful human being who seems extremely smart and seems like they're totally average, normal person on every other way, then what do I really even have a problem with? And you know what else? I recently had this exact same thing happen with furries. A friend of mine is into pup play, and I shot a pilot of my show, a different show that I'm working on, and he was on it, and my editor, who's a cis man, was like, I gotta tell you, I learned a fuck ton from this guy telling us about this, because I always thought that this was some weird fetish thing, and now I realize that it's literally just like, they're literally just using it as a way, it's cosplay, it's like a ways to express themselves in a way that's more comfortable.
I used to be the one who'd want to just kind of snicker and just kind of like, oh, how adorable! Look at him being all silly. Like, no, don't delegitimize him like that. You asshole,
Yeah, and it really
like
is. It all of these things that we think are weird. There's probably still more things that I need to learn more about. But like all these things we think are weird are so much
big
better.
Picture, we're baby transes still.
Yeah, of course. It also I have a thing to say about that. Remind me, but it just feels like no. I'm just gonna go on that because I already forgot what I was saying. I think it's really interesting how when you transition, right at the beginning of your transition, you basically are a teenager. Especially like hormonally, like I cannot explain most of my behavior for the first, I'd say, 8 months of my transition.
Oh yeah, my wife is a saint for putting up with my ass when I first started. When I was going through the basically the preteen, the tween age, and the teenage years of puberty, where I was a little bitch.
Yeah, you do them. You go through all of that. That's supposed to last like 5 years of your life. You go through all of it in like 5 months, and
Yeah,
and
actually, right about now, I find it's also where the people that I admire most are kind of where I am maturity wise. And right now, I really find myself pining for like the middle 20s people. Like, I don't want to be 47-year-old me hanging out with them. I want to be their age hanging out with them. And that's where I am in the girlhood. I went through my like
Andy,
my bright colors.
you just blew. I had no idea that other trans women feel that way. That's exactly
Yeah,
what I think. I genuinely am obsessed with 20-year-olds. They
like
are.
I
Go ahead.
like I absolutely want to be, hanging out with like Finster and Icky, but the
Yeah.
problem is I don't want to be 40. I don't want to be me right now doing that. That's weird and it's a little creepy and I'm not into
Yeah.
that. But I want to be 22-year-old Andy hanging out with them,
Yeah. I also
because
like.
I came out at 43, so there's that what could have been thing, and that's a whole other can of worms.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I'm at 29, which I thought, God, I'm a fucking ancient, like in the trans community. And of
Hmm.
course, I did my research and realized that's just not true. In fact, many of
No,
us come out much later in life than you'd think. Um,
yeah.
but I have been on a weird kick lately, like especially because I at the theme park there are a lot of like high schoolers and college kids that come in, and especially like local kids they get passes and they come in all the time, and so and
Hmm.
I love hearing, like, it's interesting to me to hear what they are talking about, what they're thinking about, what kind of activities they're into, because it's sort of fun just for a second for me to imagine that's what I would be doing if I were their age. Like if I was a young trans kid, especially when I see the queer kids, like I want to know what's
Hmm.
going on in your head. And on Instagram too, there's a
Yeah.
lot of like early 20-year-olds that I follow that just started transitioning. And I'm like, oh wow, like I can kind of vicariously live through you and see like this is what I might have been like if I had a childhood the way I wish. And I have friends who have little girls, and I'm really fascinated by like what their experiences is, and I'm fascinated by my
Hmm.
friends who are women, what their childhood experiences was, because I just missed out. I missed out on being a girl, and it sucks. You never really get over that, and I'm realizing now like I have to accept getting older or it's going to drive me crazy. If I once I get,
Yeah.
in 10 years I'm going to be like miserable because I'm not accepting where I am at. But I
It's
also
like you got to pick your battles,
you
and
got to
that's
pick
what
your
you've
battles,
done
but
already.
also Andy, I goddamn refuse to grow up. Okay? I refuse to mature, okay? And I understand that that's like everybody's going to shit all over me for that. But what I mean by that is I refuse to lose my childhood. I refuse to lose my childlike wonder. I refuse to lose my energy, my enthusiasm. And like I
Preach.
see, I have friends who are 20. They have the exact same energy level I do. So why the fuck should I try
Hmm.
to like calm down and be more mature when I can keep up? You know?
That's just as meaningless and arbitrary as gender roles. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Live your
Yeah.
life.
Age is a number. I mean,
Life is life
don't
is too
date little girls.
yeah,
Obviously, don't
life is
date
too short
kids.
not to sparkle though.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And like, I never pictured
That's my
myself.
mantra.
That's a beautiful mantra.
Life is too short not to sparkle.
Life is too short not to sparkle. I don't know about you. I've even before I knew that I was trans, I
Hmm.
could never picture my adulthood. I could never picture what I was going to look like, what I was going to be like, what I was going to be doing. I, for a long time, was pretty sure that I was going to be a film composer, which I still am. But
Yeah.
I,
Oh,
but I, I kind of just was like, okay, well, I can look at Michael Giacchino, John Williams, Thomas Newman, Hans Zimmer. I can look at all these guys and I can say, well, this is kind of where they end up, what they're doing. That's, I guess, the career goal. And I guess their lifestyle sort of looks like this. So I'll probably end up in LA. I'll have a house, maybe a home studio, maybe a wife and kids. That all sounds cool. But I could never actually like picture what I would look like, how I would be, what I would be doing, what I would want to be, the kinds of projects, like none of it was ever clear. And as I transitioned, I was talking to other trans people, other queer people, and I learned that that's a very common thing amongst queer people is that like you just have a hard partially because we don't have representation, but also because it's just kind of difficult when you're still figuring yourself out like that. It's kind of like we've been saying, you're sort of stuck in your 20s, you're stuck in your teens until you can figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just now finding ways to picture my future, and I'm also starting to see myself in older women. And that, I think, is one of my favorite things about my transition, is that I'm meeting older women who before I probably wouldn't have thought twice about. Now I'm looking at them and thinking, like, oh, okay, this is what they're wearing. They're wearing this because it's comfortable. Oh, that's cute. Okay, they figured out how to make this style work for them. Oh, they let their hair gray. Mm-hmm. Love that. Like, oh, oh, wow, this old person thinks all the same things I do. That means I'm not going to, like, suddenly stop learning at some age. That's good to know. Right? Like, that's, I can still be progressive and be old. Like, there's all these things that are coming to light for me, and it's a beautiful part of a transition that I think that a lot of queer people have a hard time, especially young ones, have a hard time picturing what their future could look like, especially if they're being ostracized, if they don't have family support, if they're in a red state. I don't know about you. I'm not traveling home for Christmas this year. I refuse now because I'm just going to get hate crimed. I'm not going to fly to Tennessee right now. And so I feel really bad for the kids, especially that live in those states and have to listen to their parents shit all over people like them, and they can't do anything about it.
Yeah. I get a lot of people who are like, in my DMs, who are like, oh, you're so brave. I wish you could be like you. You're so courageous. You're just out there and fearless. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. What you're seeing is privilege. Because this town is incredible. In the 4 years that I've been out, I've received nothing but love from people. Not once has anyone given me any attitude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, which I expected. I'm like, it's not a matter of if, but when. But I'm sitting here going, everyone in this town has been awesome to me. I've got a supportive employers. My wife was the one who cracked my egg. Aside from my sister, who's bipolar, just nuts to begin with.
Sure.
My family accepts me, so I'm like, I'm doing this. I mean, granted, it's still not easy, but compared to some people who've lost everything, I'm doing this on easy mode. So it's really easy for me to be all rose-colored lenses and let's get out there and be publicly trans and yeah. And there's a lot of people. It's like if I were in an area that was hostile and I had lost my family and friends and everything, I would probably have a far more defensive posture. So don't compare yourself to me because you're seeing someone running this on easy mode.
Yeah.
Don't confuse courage with privilege.
Absolutely. I look at a lot of the famous trans women of yore, and I think it's funny how we often celebrate a lot of people. You see on Instagram people posting things about like, did you know about Wendy Carlos? And all these things, and I'm like, Wendy Carlos was a very successful white man before transitioning. You know what I mean? Like, she had a lot of privilege going into it, and then people left her alone because she was successful. And then she had Moog on her side. The man, Moog himself, built her shit. Like, that's the definition of fucking privilege. You know what I mean? Like, and so, like, I'm not discrediting her courage. Obviously, like, in her time, that was insane of her to be so public and vocal about it, and to still work in an industry full of people who hated her, I'm sure. And she probably, and I know she lived a life, or is she still alive? I don't know. I know that she lived a life of somewhat of a hermit because of that. But at the same time, we aren't talking about the black trans women, most of whom are completely nameless, who got us our rights and suffered endlessly, without all that privilege, and still were brave every single day while getting beaten up by the police all the time. And you can call me brave all you want, but like I have not faced the same adversity as others.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, she's still alive.
Wendy Carlos is still alive. Good for you, Wendy. Oh, I hope you probably aren't watching this, but maybe one day you might. Maybe you'll catch it.
Catch what?
Catch this. Maybe Wendy will see this. I don't know. Maybe she's like
I thought you said.
Oh, one day. Yeah, sorry. Wendy.
I thought you were saying one day you'll catch this, and I'm like, I'm catching it right now. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no. I wonder if Wendy is hip to YouTube. I doubt it, but maybe.
Maybe. You never know. I can
Um,
see her hanging out with the royalty, like like Alexander Billings and Marty Pans.
oh yeah. Um, I will say to your point about how your small town has treated you well, or I guess your large town, your medium town
And
has treated you
we're
well.
medium. We're not. Yeah,
Yeah,
it takes like a solid half an hour to drive from one side to the other.
oh okay, yeah, that's sizable. My partner and I did a cross country trip from Pennsylvania here in California, and when we did, we drove 12 states, and I was only misgendered one time by my grandmother. So I can tell you firsthand, specifically as a very as a very how do I put this? I don't know that I necessarily pass, but I definitely could walk by you in a blur and you might not notice me, especially if I'm with my partner who also is a woman. Like we just look like two girls, right? And so like
Yeah.
I am a white woman. Like I can say that from my personal experience, everyone was lovely. People were saying, "Hey, ladies," when we
Yeah.
came in. People were very kind to me. There was the grocery store in Kansas. They were like, "Did you find everything you wanted, ma'am?" And like, this is like a man, like who looks like he's gonna clock out and put his MAGA hat on. Like, just absolutely fucking so kind. And it really helped me realize like, this country specifically, like so many of us, maybe we aren't all we're not all maybe more good than we think, but we definitely are way more polite than we give our country credit for. There are a lot of assholes,
Oh yeah.
but there are a lot of people out there, especially a lot of like older women, I think, as in my experience, who have these horrible thoughts, but they just don't feel the need to share them. You know,
Yeah.
they're still gonna treat you like a
That's
fucking person.
It's like where I work. I mean, I work in when we were in the office. I'm not in the office now, but
Right.
I'm working from home. Hence, I can sit here and chit chat. But uh, in the office when I first came out, and it's like I know damn well people had opinions. There had to be somebody who had opinions, but you know what? That's fine. They kept it to themselves. Everyone treated me okay. My boss is a Fox News Republican. Like he's got it on his quick launch bar, and and so I'm just like, oh damn, but he's like, it's weird. He also runs a brewery and plays disc golf. I'm like, you're the hippiest Republican ever. What the hell? But
Money, I would guess.
yeah, could be. But one
Because
of the things is he said, yeah, he just said, I said if anybody has any questions, please ask because I'm here to help people learn. And the only question he ever asked is everybody treating you okay? One time because I've got this voice and we usually do like phone conference calls. Someone served me and I let it go because I got this voice and you can't see my face. But he stepped in and said, actually, it's ma'am. And I was just like, damn, oh yeah, Perry.
Andie, do you like old people?
Do I like old people?
Yeah, because I hate old people. I genuinely, they are gross. They smell. They are. I don't like being around. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about half the time. They give me like those weird tings of pain when you're around them, and I think it's just because I'm scared that their oldness is gonna rub off on me. But you know what else I am? Respectful to them, because it is not their fault. It is not their fault that I am grossed out by them, right? They did not choose to be old. They just aged. So why don't you just treat trans people the same way that you treat old people?
Because one of the things you'll hear is like, oh, you expect us to like you. No, you can hate the shit out of me.
You can hate me.
Just, you got to respect my right to exist.
Yes. And you also have...
It is our responsibility as members of a free society to put up with motherfuckers we can't stand.
Yeah.
That's our responsibility, is to put up with people we can't stand. Don't have to like them, but you got to put up with them.
Because they're
that's
humans.
What makes a free society.
Yeah, they're human beings, and we all deserve the things, It's just...
I've got Trumper neighbors, and one time I still called the cops one time when I saw somebody who looked like they were creeping around their house. It's like I still respect their human rights, even though I can't stand the bastards.
Yeah, and it sucks that they won't seem to show us. And I think I'm a leftist, but I see a lot of liberals falling into the same trap and leftists, I guess, but I see it more in liberals there are a lot of young liberal queers that are just falling into the exact same hatred trap that the conservative people are.
I'm I'm getting sucked into the culture wars. It's a battle.
It's a battle, and
Not
don't get
to
me wrong. Like if some dickhead comes into my comments and tells me that kids deserve to starve because their parents are lazy, I'm gonna shit all over him, and I'm gonna feel hatred towards this dumbass. But at the same time, that fucking idiot still deserves free food and shelter because there's plenty of it around. There are so many goddamn houses.
The crisis here is insane in Dayton.
I'm sure.
You know, the shelters are full. The shelters are full because I had a couple friends 2 summers ago. We were helping. They stayed here at the house for a little while, and I gave them my old tent. There's a bit of a tent city here in Dayton. I drop by every now and then, drop off a bag of I call them civilian MREs, chunky soup, because they're very nutritionally complete. Lots of
when you're done telling me this story, would you mind telling me give me a list of the things that you put in those things, because I'd like to do the same.
Well, I gave them just my old camping tent, and then I just drop off like the Campbell's chunky soup, in the cans.
Okay. Yeah.
Just a variety, because like I said, that I call chunky soup the civilian MRE because they're meant to be, very nutritionally varied and high protein. They're basically meant to sustain you.
Yeah.
Just out of one can.
Right.
So it's and I tried to get them on waiting lists and stuff, and the programs that were taking people for the waiting list stopped taking new people because there was just nowhere. The system was overloaded with people already waiting for beds in the shelter, which was full. So there was just literally nowhere for anybody to go, and they keep building luxury condos downtown. And I'm like, you sons of bitches.
That's you said you're in Dayton, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking up.
Birthplace of Cheez-Its and Star
There
Motors.
are around 11,000 empty homes. That's an estimate in your town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That a 16% vacancy rate. Is that right?
Sounds about right.
Something like that. So that could probably easily cover a lot of the homeless. Now
there's
people. The big argument. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say there's an apartment high rise downtown and it's empty because there's no profit in fixing it up.
That's
so
ridiculous.
Just sitting there empty.
That's ridiculous.
Sorry, I'm just kvetching now, so you say your piece.
No, I was gonna say that the argument that I hear in LA a lot is that there's just too many, man. There's just too many homeless. There's just too many homeless. And I'm like, this is one of the largest goddamn cities in the fucking world, and there are so many fucking empty houses. I walk by empty apartments and leasing now signs all the goddamn time. There's definitely more housing just in this city. If we're just talking about LA, there's definitely more housing than there are homeless people. We just don't want to help them. And instead, we want to play loud music outside of our fucking stores and build bus benches that aren't even comfortable for anyone to sit on. That it's just malicious. It's awful. And as this whole SNAP crisis, I was already I was pretty gung-ho about these things. I've been looking into, I'm very, again, I'm not in any kind of financial place to be quitting my job and trying to be outreach all the time, but I'm trying my best to get involved with the homeless crisis, and especially now with the food problems. But I forgot what I was saying.
Versus benefits.
Yeah, I just this whole thing has really kind of radicalized me in a sense that I'm now realizing just how engineered all of this really is. It's all so pointless, and there's so many people who are convinced that it's nothing we can do about it. That's just the way the system works. There's gotta be people that are suffering. That's how it works. And I posted a video yesterday, I think, about the difference between struggling and suffering, and that's just something that I just don't think people understand. People really think that suffering is good for you, and it's just not. We've all struggled. Mm-hmm. Struggling is wonderful, but suffering is not. Suffering does not build character. It builds trauma. And
exactly.
And then now I'm traumatized. And also God, I mean, just people are not able to
And
think like what, just because you got out of your struggle does not mean that someone else could.
well, and a lot of this is also still a generational trauma because like my grandparents were the World War II generation.
Yeah.
So they were the war veterans who saw the most, because that was, I mean, war nowadays is still, of course, horrible. But I mean, when you're just looking face to face with your enemies and shooting them in the head,
Yeah.
and you just see the awful, the absent, how personal
Yeah.
the gore and warfare was back then. Yeah, they all came back traumatized in the 40s. And then they had our parents, the boomers, because
Yeah.
I'm part of the echo boom, I guess they call it. I'm kind of like, I'm a zennial right there between the fine line between X and millennial.
Yeah.
But it's like that suck it up buttercup mentality of all those absolutely shell shocked World War II soldiers who came home and then raised our my generation's parents. Yeah. So that generational trauma of just suck it up, don't be a baby, troop through it, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's definitely that's shell shocked. War
Oh,
veteran
yeah.
mentality.
That makes sense.
And I mean, that was only a couple generations ago, and that generational trauma passes down for a while.
Well, and there's also, within um, the African American community as well as the Hispanic community, there's a lot of like, hey, my granddad suffered, my mom suffered, you gotta suffer, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I ate fucking tortillas and coffee every morning. Suck it up. Like, and it's weird that, like, well, don't you want any better? Like, you're still alive now. You don't want better for yourself now? Like, what are you talking about? And
Yeah.
not to mention that, like, so many people ignore the fact that, like, their grandparents and the grandparents before them were redlined. They weren't even, like, you were at a disadvantage before you were even born.
Oh, the Dayton red line maps that you can pull up from like I found a survey line from like 1942.
Really?
The exact same. Oh yeah, for here in Dayton, the legit red line maps with the red lines on them are identical to the neighborhood boundaries today in 2025. Like you
Oh.
cross the street and all of a sudden the houses are all shitty,
Oh,
because
look at that.
nobody will give the residents, and that is some massive generational trauma still being suffered today. Is the red lines are still, because a lot of the people who live in that area can't get loans to improve their homes. They're denied home improvement loans, and so therefore the homes fall apart and lose value, and it's just this never-ending cycle of deterioration.
Oh my god, yeah, here it is on mapping inequality. I can see
Mm-hmm.
the red. Oh, wow. So basically there's like a sliver, right? Like a big strip through the middle of the city that's all is the red. Wait, is the
I You're talking about Dayton?
Yeah,
Yeah, and basically the north and west,
right.
the west and the northwest. That's the big one.
That's the black communities
Um,
or the white communities?
essentially, what's I say this with air quotes, the black community,
The black
the
community,
black
right.
neighborhoods,
The
but
poor
they're
neighborhood.
just the financially,
Well, I mean, like what they were intended to be. Sorry, that's what I meant. Is like
yeah.
they were intended to be
Oh
black
yeah.
neighborhoods. Yeah. Well, in LA we experienced that with oh shoot, the name of the town just slipped my mind. But they got hit really bad by the fires, and that was like the historic black community. They got pushed out by the highways, and they moved there and started a flourishing community that's still going today. And many of who they're a rare case, that area where many of the people, they're the black families that are still there, whose family like started the community. Their wealth has grown because they're keeping the money in the community. And and then the fires happen and fucking tanked half the goddamn neighborhood. And I looked it up the other day, and a lot of them are still displaced and haven't been able to reclaim some of the properties. Some of the properties have not been able to have been reclaimed, and or just they haven't been able to rebuild. And so it's devastating. And of course, Tulsa and all those horrible experiences that where they had a chance and then white people took it away. And I just think it's bizarre that so many people think that we're all on a level playing field. How can you possibly say that? It makes no sense.
we all have the exact same opportunities. They just need to pull themselves up by the bootstraps. That's World War II grandpa speaking. You know?
It really is, isn't it? That's a really interesting. I'd
Yeah.
never thought of that. And by the way, having grown up a young boy, I love war movies.
Right.
And the reason that I love,
Mm-hmm.
I can talk about this for another hour, but I love masculinity. I think it's very funny. And my whole life,
Yeah.
I played the part. And then over time, I realized like I'm playing a part. And like, then I realized the reason I like playing this part is because it's fucking funny. And there's this dichotomy in masculinity of like seriousness that is so silly. And it's like, anyway, war movies are an excellent depiction of that, of masculinity in both good and bad forms, and especially like really great shows like Band of Brothers and The Pacific, you know, those, and Saving Private Ryan. Like they're showing men who, in my opinion, were real men, quote unquote. You know, these boys, they were young boys that were sent. The Pacific, especially, god damn, those guys. They saw things that no one should see. They experienced things that no one should experience, and they had no idea what they were going into. They were just young Christian boys, probably, going into some bullshit.
Yep.
And, of course, they were traumatized. And you saying that, really, like, I'm just thinking about that fucking kid from Jurassic Park that was in the Pacific who got so shell-shocked he, like, was depressed when he got home. And I'm just like, that kid grew up to be the bootstraps grandpa. And then his kids told their kids that, and here we are. And now we have Tom Hanks making movies about it.
Yep.
Wow.
It's my wife. She's a diversity educator, and so she has all the academic language for all this stuff about like intersectional identities and things like that.
Right.
She's taught me so much. It was So she's the one who's really taught me a lot of what I'm speaking of right now, you know, and she's just been an incredible resource for that. Like I said, she's the one who, because you know the prime directive is never crack somebody's egg for them. But I was having a real rough time. I was getting drunk as hell all the time. I was a raging alcoholic.
Holy shit, me
Just
too.
not having a very good time of it. Yeah, as most of us, unfortunately. And she was at a Catholic university, and she had started the Office of LGBTQIA plus support services because she was actually going to go be an Episcopal priest. So she knew the theology and how to tap dance around it and just absolutely use it, turn it on them.
That's amazing.
And but you know, I was having a super rough time of it, and I'd just get drunk and just start yammering and spilling out all the poison in me. And she just one time she just finally said, the things that you're saying sound very similar to the concerns that my non-binary students come and confide in me. So maybe you might want to look up, just Google what non-binary means and see if that's, you know, you feel like maybe that applies, which was her very delicate way of grabbing me by the shoulders and shaking me and going, oh my God, come the fuck out already. You're driving us crazy. Yeah, that's funny because so without her, I might still just be an absolutely miserable straight guy, or I might have drank myself to death by now. Who knows? But without her giving me the gift of the language to understand myself, I don't know if I'd have ever come to that realization, because denial is a very deep river with me.
Yeah, you know, I think that same logic applies to so many things. I think that you kind of have to come out of it. You have to come out of anything. You got to climb out of most holes by yourself. It's most of the time, somebody can stand up there and tell you, hey, this is what you're going to get if you get out. Like, hey, it's pretty cool up here. Why don't you climb out? But, like, it's too far down for them to reach down and pull you out, you know? And I think it applies, you know, with this fucking dumbass Wyatt, which, fuck you, Wyatt. You should have called. If Wyatt had called, I know I can't convince him. I couldn't have changed his mind in one phone call, but maybe someone listening could have changed their mind. Maybe I could have planted a seed that maybe, you know, for me, like you said, it was a million seeds. Way back in Nashville, I went to a friend's birthday party who I, at the time, did not realize was gay. I thought he was just a flamboyant guy. And I went to his birthday party, and it was a Shania Twain, like a karaoke, but with a live band, which I was playing for. And, I mean, it was basically a drag show by the end of it. And I was like, whoa, like I'm uncomfortable, but I also like, this is fun. This guy's having a great time, and he's clearly feeling himself. And I think on a level, I was jealous. Like I keep smacking my mic when I talk. I was jealous that I'm like, why am I over here miserable and this guy's having all this fun when I think he's like weird. Like why is he weird? But then like I had friends, like I'll never ever forget my best friend Hadley Sintek. I was saying some bullshit. Who fucking knows what I was saying? And she turned to me and she said, "You are the most small-minded person I've ever met." And I was just like, oh God. Like I was like, what are you talking about? I'm so smart. I know everything. What are you talking about? And that I can point to it directly. That was the first seed. That was the first seed for me to be like, wait, maybe she's right. What if she's right? I need to do something about that. And so I started to learn. And then, a lot of it was moving out here and being exposed to more gender queer people. I had known gay people, but I had always, like, I just always assumed that I was straight because I'm a lesbian. That's it. Yeah. So like, that's a huge part of why I didn't know, because to me, it was so wrapped up in my sexuality that like, how could that ever cross my mind?
I felt queer. I felt kind of, I felt drawn to the queer community, and I knew I wasn't perfectly comfortable around straight people, and I loved going to the gay bar and just hanging out. But I was into women, so I'm like, clearly I'm not queer, I'm not gay,
Yeah.
I didn't have the language to understand the varieties. For me it was very black or white. It was like either you're straight or you're gay,
Absolutely.
There's none of the subtlety.
That's exactly what I remember the first, I know the first trans person / possibly drag queen, we don't know, that I ever saw, was in New Orleans. I was on a mission trip to New Orleans, and I was the videographer, as I was on many of the trips that I went on for my church, and which sucked, if I'm being honest, because you're just sort of just filming everyone have fun. You're not actually getting to participate in the fun. But we went on a night where we went around just, New Orleans and the, Main Street and all that stuff, and like did all the things you do at night in New Orleans, right? And the Big Easy, is that what it is? That's what it is.
New Orleans.
We were walking around, and looking back, I guess she was probably a drag queen. I don't know, but she came all out in her, all her big dress and the big wig, and she was so flamboyant and was being all loud. And I turned to my friend, and I was like, "Whoa! Like, what is that?" I think that's what I said. I think I was like, "What's that? What's the deal there?" Because we were like high schoolers, and I was like, look at them, like, whoa. And he was like, whoa, oh my gosh, like, what's the deal there? That must be like a gay bar or something. And then his mom was like, don't look, don't bother with them, like, don't leave, don't look at them, and like move, like shuffled us away. And I remember I got footage of her. I remember I put the camera up, and I went back and looked at her in the footage. I remember when I was editing, I was like, wow, like I really genuinely, with like you said, no knowledge, no vocabulary, but I was just like, I wonder what that person's story is. And it was a genuine curiosity that I was robbed of. You know what I mean? Yeah. I now see, like, I was robbed of that knowledge by people who were trying to protect me, and by keeping me in the dark, which is just an absurd way to protect anybody. And, you know...
That's a form of conversion therapy.
It is. It absolutely is.
By denying somebody their identity, or even knowledge of their identity, to where where they could possibly be their true self, what you're doing is you're converting them to where you want them to be.
Yeah.
It's
a real fucking shame. Damn, Andie, we've been talking for like an hour. This is the longest Bex Checks I've ever done.
Nice.
I should probably let you go. But this was wonderful. Would you like me to add your number to the roster of people I will check on again?
Sure. I won't always answer, but
Oh, sure.
I will definitely. Yeah, you're welcome to call.
Yeah, I mean I'm literally just cold calling. It's the answering is not always a part of it. But
yeah, absolutely.
It would, yeah, it would help. I have like right now I only have 3 people on the list, so you're a rarity. But I've talked to,
I feel exclusive.
yeah, I've talked to 2 wonderful people, and you're the first person from Dayton, so that's exciting.
Yay!
And you want, I assume just Andie? You want to just put Andie?
Yeah, just Andie.
Okay, cool. Can I ask?
My friend Mickey. No, yes.
Did you choose that name?
Well, my dead name is Andrew, and I went by Andie, and that name I like the name Andie with a Y. It never gave me. I mean, have you ever met an asshole named Andie? No, we're all really polite.
That's a really good point. No, I haven't. Andy Samberg.
Dysphoria. It's a good
yeah,
name. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but to make it easier on everybody, and because I'm a teen of the '90s and I was in love with actress Andie MacDowell at the time,
oh hell yeah,
I was just like, screw it, I'll just go with Andie. Now my middle name, because it was Robert, and I'm like, well, I that's my grandpa's middle name, and so, or my grandpa's first name. It's a name we share, and I'm like, I don't want to feminize it and call it Roberta because that's his name as well. So I'm just
that's
like,
a little, yeah, it kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, so I felt like that was a bit of an insult to him. That would be misgendering my grandpa. So I love the color purple. I have several chunks of amethyst all around me, so I chose the middle name Amethyst.
Whoa! And also, holy shit!
Probably about 20 some years ago, I had a dream, like when I was in my 20s. And I mean, how many dreams do you remember from 20 years ago? Probably not very many. No. But this one stuck with me because I dreamt I had a little girl. I had a little daughter, and I don't have any kids, but I dreamt I had a little daughter named Amethyst, and we called her Amy. And I woke up in tears, and that stuck with me this whole time. And I'm like, you know what? If I'm not going to have a daughter, then maybe a little Amethyst was me.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's so fucking adorable. I love that. Also, God, that name took me out. That's fucking holy shit. That's a cool name. I love that.
So I'm Andie Amethyst. And I will reserve my last name for privacy reasons.
Oh no, yeah, duh, of course. I just was curious. I'm always curious.
None of the internet's beeswax.
Yeah, I'm just full government on the fucking online. But I am.
We all are.
Yeah, right.
As an IT professional, I can assure you that privacy has been merely an illusion. For decades
absolutely.
Now.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure. I'm always curious about how trans people choose their names, especially because it's sometimes like yours. It's a version of their name, of their dead name, and I think it's cool. I think it's really cool when trans people like own part of it, like they kind of repurpose what their identity already was.
Mm-hmm. It's like, I'll keep what worked for me, and then I'm getting rid of what gave me dysphoria. For some people, that name it's like having a spider on their back. Like, get it off me.
Oh yeah, sure.
For some people, get that level of yuck. Like having a cicada fly up and land in your hair. It's like your dead name. It's like, get rid of it. For me, I'm like, I like it.
Yeah.
Now I have a pet cicada in my hair.
Yeah. Oh, that's cute. I love that analogy.
Actually, I hate cicadas. They're the ugliest bugs out there.
They make cool sounds,
so
though.
Hideous.
They make excellent noises. I'm a big fan of noise.
And the ones that we have here in Ohio, in my neck of the woods, because some of them just sit there and make that high pitched scream, and it's really annoying.
Yeah.
Ours are the ones that they like to throw in as a sound effect for anything vaguely insect-like or reptilian in horror movies, like sound. And I'm like, I hear that in a horror movie, and it's almost soothing because that's the sound of summer for me. Those are our cicadas.
I absolutely know what you're talking about, and I feel the same way. And I also feel that way about kudzu. Do you know what kudzu is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, anytime I see
Luckily,
kudzu, I'm like...
has not come up this far north.
Oh, well, I'm from Tennessee. Where I'm from, it's everywhere. And I'm like, every time I see it in movies, I'm like, oh, I want to go lay in that, even though it's probably gross. But, all right, well, Andie, thank you so much. This is just what an unexpected and beautiful call. You're the first person to ever call into the show, and I will never forget that.
Sweet. I'm happy to have popped your call chair.
Disgusting. All right, well,
the more comfortable I get, the dirtier my humor gets.
That's great.
I've been on good behavior. I get downright filthy sometimes.
Oh, great! I look forward to that next time. All right, have a wonderful day, Andie.
You too. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Come on, man. This show is firing on all cylinders. Good gosh. Andie said something about, she said about how it's about an old dream that she can remember. It's not, it's weird to remember dreams. I have the same dream basically all the time. That I'm like sneaking around either a familiar location like the church I grew up in, my old house. One time it was a cave that was like very specifically like a museum. It was like a coal mine museum or something. So like it's a cave, but it's like it's been like gentrified. So I'm sneaking around a gentrified cave and I have a distinct feeling that if I am caught, I will not be in trouble. For some reason, there's just like internal sense I will not get in trouble. And I don't know if I'm just like dreaming about my privilege. Well, hey, thanks for watching. My name's Bex. This has been Bex Checks. Make sure you subscribe so that you can be alerted when I go live. And remember to call into the number and come and chat with me. Bye-bye.